We had a client that we worked with, and she was really struggling with profitability. She kept raising tuition. She actually did 3 tuition increases within a 15-month cycle, and she still could not catch up. So I helped her work with our 6 money leaks in schools, and she only used 3 of the 6 money leaks and cut her expenses by 50%. 50. She did not fire anyone. She did not slash any of her programs, and she did not work more hours. Again, the 6 money leaks are not hacks or spreadsheets. These are patterns. They are small decisions that feel so normal that your school does, but they quietly drain your school's profit. So if you've ever wondered why you're working so hard, but still not seeing the return, this is your first step to clarity. Click the link in the show notes and find out what it's actually costing you. Welcome to the Schools of Excellence podcast, where we transform everyday leadership struggles into powerful legacies that impact generations. I'm your host, Chani Wolshansky, a 20-year veteran of school leadership who has helped hundreds of school leaders achieve what many thought was impossible through our signature programs, School Leadership HQ and Enrollment Engine. With our battle-tested frameworks and blueprints, leaders have achieved 90% parent retention, 50% less staff turnover, 15% improved profit margins, and increased enrollment by 25%. My mission is simple: to revolutionize school leadership by elevating the skills, the habits, and mindset of passionate leaders ready to create lasting change. Join me as we build your legacy of excellence, one transformative conversation at a time. Welcome back to the Schools of Excellence podcast. I am excited to be here today with two amazing guests. Usually when we have guests on the show, it's usually one person, but this is a 2-on-1. And as always, when I have guests on the show, it's really a fun conversation, more like intellectual ping pong, if you will. We see where the conversation goes. So just relax. This is not an interview style. This is just sitting down and having coffee together. And I took the time to make sure Karen has her coffee ready for this great conversation. Lisa's got her coffee. We all got our beverage of choice here. So I'd love, Karen, for you to kick us off. Just what's your name? What is the name of your school? Where are you located? Just tell us who you are, and then we'll dive in.
Cool. Karen Giffray, and the name of my school is Voyagers Community School. I should say the name of our school, because it's very much a community school. Mm-hmm. So the name of our school is Voyagers Community School, and we are located on the Brookdale Community College campus in Lincroft, New Jersey.
And you are also here with Lisa. Lisa, after you introduce yourself as well.
Yes. So I'm the director of Voyagers Community School. I've been in this field for probably 16 years now, and I'm so happy to have landed in a place that, just like pulls to my heartstrings and sings the song of everything that I love, when it comes to progressive education.
Yeah. So Karen found Schools of Excellence. I know she was following the company for a while online, on the podcast, and then ultimately decided to reach out to connect. So Karen, what made you decide to ultimately connect with Schools of Excellence?
Introduced to you by a woman who is a powerhouse she owns self-defense academies.
Oh, what's her name?
Nancy Walzog.
Oh, of course I know her. Yes. Okay.
Introduced by Nancy, who had a son in our school, and said, I'm following this woman. She's amazing, but you need
I love it. I love it. Right. That's the ripple effect there. So what made you ultimately reach out and say, hey, we want to work with Schools of Excellence?
Yeah. So we were really, look, I'm in the business of this school for 21 years, soon to be 20, coming on 22 years. And we've had ebbs and flows, but we've had a fairly consistent enrollment until after COVID, not during COVID, because during COVID we were open. So we had great enrollment. And after COVID, a lot of kids went back. So of course, we're pre-K through 12 school. So a little different, right, than some of your other schools. Kids went back to their public schools and our enrollment declined. And then people got worried about economics and all those things and social distance. And so we found ourselves in a place where, as hard as we felt we were working, it wasn't working. And enrollment was declining. And I just felt a real pull to schools of excellence for mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing when it comes to enrollment, I want to give some context here to our listeners, is the typical reflex when it comes to enrollment is to hire a marketing company or to hire a marketing agency or to hire an ad company. And all that does is spend thousands of dollars and send traffic to a leaky bucket, to a engine that isn't really working, right? So when your enrollment is low, the first thing you do is not hire a marketing agency or put money in ads. The first thing you do is look at yourself and the identity of your school and your messaging and what are you really communicating, looking at your own habits. How am I actually showing up? Am I being consistent? What's really actually going on? Then absolutely, we could put paid traffic behind amazing machines and it'll work amazing. But we have to do the deep work first. So Lisa, I'd love for you to speak to when you started to work on enrollment, what were some of the baby steps you took and where was the resistance? Because we worked through a lot of that as well in the beginning of the journey together.
So there was definitely baby steps to this process. We started to look at essentially where are the missed opportunities, right? And so I remember we began a pretty aggressive community outreach kind of program where we started looking for referrals, not only internally within our parents, and finding, essentially parents that love our program, that can sing high praises. And, we basically asked them hey, do you have families that that are in your phone right now that you think would be a good fit for our program?
Yeah.
And guess what? We ended up enrolling 6 families that way.
Yeah.
Just through our own internal
So
system.
Lisa's referring to the parent ambassador framework that we teach inside of schools of excellence of working with specific families to get children inside. So when someone hears this and they're struggling with enrollment and they hear this concept oh, wow, you enrolled 6 kids, typically that comes after when you hire a marketing agent, they're okay, 90 days, I'm going to build you a new website and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm you don't need a website. You need a phone call, a literal phone, from the 1960s. That'll do too. Simple landline call people, nothing fancy. So, Lisa, and then Karen, I want to ask you the same question. When you start something new, right, like the parent ambassador program, looking at referrals, these things, where's the resistance to go in taking these action steps? And you guys did a lot of other things also, which we'll dive into as well.
I think some of the resistance came from the admissions department, right? So my admissions director, I feel sometimes it's uncomfortable to have those conversations straight out, ask people can you give me the number of
Yes. Yes.
willing and able to, come to our program. And essentially, there's a little bit of uncomfortableness right there, right? And so getting over that, I think, was a hurdle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. And that's why people run to the marketing agency because they're you'll just do all the uncomfortable things for me, right? You'll do the magical button. Karen, what about you? What was some of the resistance you felt towards trying some new strategy when it came to enrollment?
Yeah, you're putting your finger on something that's pretty important because to this point, people were coming to me going, you have to hire somebody. You have to bring. You have to do that. You have to update our website. You have to. And I've already been there, right? I've done this for 21 years. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars with organizations that gave me no results. Maybe they gave me a beautiful website, but they gave me no result. I was at a stage where I'm now doing the website. I'm doing those things, not even paying out and hiring, right? And I also think that there was a light went on because you spoke about money leaks.
Say more about that.
So in partnership with this effort to increase enrollment was the aha moment of, wait a minute, I got to go back and I know my numbers. I'm a numbers person. I know my numbers, but she's right. Johnny's right. I have to go back and look at where we're spending money and where we can save money at the same time as people are asking me to spend tens of thousands of dollars with an agency or somebody, a marketing specialist, or hire somebody, So these two things went in tandem. And I think that was a discussion that, we really had to dig into and embrace the idea that we can do it and we can motivate the staff we need and the parents that we need to join on board. I think the other piece of the resistance, people hate to make phone calls.
Yeah.
Phone calls.
Vulnerable.
Today, as successful as we have been, we are constantly prompting the people on our staff to make phone calls.
Call. Just pick up the phone.
Pick up a phone and call.
It's easier to
There's a reason why cold calling is still a strategy in the books.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if it didn't work, then it would go and live in the dust shells of, history. But it doesn't, because it still works.
Right.
Call people, right? It is so easy to get lost in a whirlwind of social media where everything is smooth and neat and clean and polished. And people don't buy from clean and polished. They buy from real people, right? Again, they're not buying a bag of pretzels. They are investing in their child's education. So we have to understand the language that we're communicating. And we so often we delegate the wrong things. We as leaders, we really delegate a lot of the wrong things when certain things are forever supposed to be on your plate. Not because of any other reason, just it belongs here because you're the mission and the vision and you have the messaging and all of those things live inside of your soul. So Lisa, I'd love for you to dig a little bit deeper into, you did the parent ambassador program. I know you did a lot of coattail marketing, like, going on the back ends of other people's strategies. So just unpack a couple things that you did, and then we'll dig into some of the numbers of growth.
One of the strategies that has been working like really, really well for us, and I'm excited because we have another up and coming fair. We're going out to like the local, like we have a local organization here that brings all of the moms of the community together, and they turn into these really big family fairs. And so we're going to one on Sunday.
They deserve to be named. You have to name them because they're amazing.
Yes, they are. The Mammoth Moms.
Okay.
Essentially, a spring fest on Sunday, and essentially we're going to be at the fair. We have a presence. We're getting everybody in the door at our school because they're coming straight from the fair, and we'll strategically have our open house that week on that Wednesday. And it's amazing how many people have been showing up to our open houses with this strategy.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Yeah. And you have to say too that now our mailing list has increased, our phone numbers have increased, and so we can really do more personal touch kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so you build your leads list, right? And now you're working the leads list, right?
Yeah. And we've created a tremendous sense of urgency. Tremendous.
Yeah.
Because we're now, and it's true, we're at the point now where in some of our rooms, if you don't sign up today, we can't promise there's 10 other people in the door. We used to do open houses, we get 2 people.
Yeah.
Now you have 11 people, 15 people, they see everybody walking around and you're saying, I've got 1 space in that infant room. I have 2 spaces in that waddler room. If you want to sign up today, today's the day. Yeah. And then we're doing, you haven't spoken yet about the referral program or the amount of money off. When you talk about resistance, one of the things that was hard for me was to give money back, right? So
let's talk about that. I remember that conversation.
That was a really hard thing for me to give money back. But then once I got on board, I was like, you're not giving enough. Like 200 isn't enough. You're going to give them 600. You're not going to give them 1,000.
Again, let's talk about the economy, right? I always say $100 is an adult dollar bill. That's what $100 is. It's an adult dollar bill. That's it. Okay. It is literally $100 is gone in 4 seconds. So if you tell someone, I'm going to give you $200 for spending 5 or 6 hours on trying to enroll a child, that is not worth the effort, right? So people say things like, oh, we have a referral program and this is how much we give families. I'm like, that's not a referral program. That's a hope and pray program. That's not a referral program. So Karen, speak to what you did. Yeah.
Now giving $600.
Yeah. Okay.
So giving $600 if they stayed for 90 days, right? They were getting $600, and the referring parents, family, was getting $600 if they stayed 90 days. So we were giving away $1,200. But when I thought about hiring the marketing company and what I was spending, I was like, this is a bargain. Now I'm saving money. And so we've done different things. I think right now we're doing $500, $100 a month off their tuition?
Yep. On the invitation, it looks like a postcard. It's really beautiful. We're handing it to parents, and it says if they show up at our open house on this day, then they're going to get $500 automatically off their tuition. And it's spread out over, 5 months. It's $100 off a month. And parents love this. Like, this has been a huge selling point, because when I went back, a week ago, and I was looking at like what strategy has worked the best for us. And that really worked well. We had registered about 10 families using that promotion last time. And when you look at the lifetime value versus like, the cost that we're putting ourselves out, it's worth that.
Yeah. I always tell, when clients refer clients to me, we give them $2,000. And the reason it is at 2,000 is because I've been able to calculate what is the lifetime value of a person who comes into our world. How many years do they renew and repurchase and, invest in other things or whatever it is. $2,000 it seems like a lot because it is. $2,000 is not $200. It's a lot of money. But I also look at energy, cost, time, all of those things that go into acquiring a lead. It's worth every penny. So absolutely, like just understanding that strategy. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, Lisa, when you had originally started in Schools of Excellence, you were very newly postpartum, I think 3 months, 4 months? I'm not even...
Yes. I mean, like we signed up, like I think as I was
just before you were having the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys registered in our 9th month and then joined the program. So let's talk
ambitious, right?
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about that journey, because we all will go through different seasons of life, right? Karen is a completely different season of life than you, Lisa. But knowing that we can lead in all seasons, and it has to look and shapeshift and take forms in different ways. So I would love for you to speak to that, Lisa, and then Karen, your season of life as well. But first, Lisa, your postpartum, like, let's talk about that.
Well, I'll tell you, like, the first thing I said to Karen when I found out I was pregnant was that I was like, I'm having a baby, but nothing's going to change. Like, those were my exact words. I know. It was just, and I probably had this said back to me 1,000 times now. But I don't know. I mean, I've worked with children for so long, like you would think I would have like a better understanding, but ultimately what ended up happening was this huge shift happened within myself that also aligned so much with everything that Schools of Excellence is about, right? Because, time is a currency, right? And as I had less and less time because I had to devote so much of it into this infant, I had to learn how to manage my time more effectively. Whereas before, people just felt like they can walk into my office at any time, no matter what I was doing, because I left my door open and it was constant disruptions. And now I feel like the biggest shift that has happened is really just setting those like boundaries, especially, at work, and just saying like they know now what my calendar looks like. They know when there's pockets of time when they can come to me. And I know what I'm focusing on that day and that time. And so, it's just a massive shift that happens, mentally, where, like now I know I have to be super wise with my time because I want to be the most effective person I can be at my workplace, with the time that I
need to deconstruct a couple of these things. And I think it's so important to flag this. And this is why it's a conversation, not an interview, right? So let's talk about the phrase that you used and what you said to Karen, because you're not the only one. I have coached hundreds of women all through different seasons, but especially through postpartum and after, they have a baby. And so when a woman says, nothing's going to change after I have a baby, like everything's going to be the same, I'm just going to take a couple weeks off and then I'll be back, right? What is that woman actually saying? Okay. What she's saying is it's a protective shield to ease the discomfort for everyone else who's afraid. Oh my God, you are going to actually change. So she's like preempting the protectiveness of like, don't worry, like nothing's going to change in me, right? Like the fact that I'm growing an actual human inside of me, no, that's like totally normal because everyone does that, right? And so there's a couple things to understand. The first thing is when a woman has a baby is the invisible system around her has to adapt, right? The change costs others something, right? So that's why society always wants you to bounce back, right? But the workplace, the marriage, the family roles, the dynamics, your brain, your hormones, everything changes. And the desire to say it won't is this obsession of I'm afraid to lose who I am because I like who I am right now. But what I loved what you said, Lisa, is who did I become, right? And not being afraid of who you're going to become next. And the other piece also I just want to bring up is that when women say these things of nothing will change, what they're actually desiring is someone to reassure them, don't worry, you're still going to belong here even after you change. We will still love you even after your body changes. You will still have identity even when you have a baby glued to your hip for the next 9 months, right? We want to feel like we will not be excommunicated from our tribe because we're changing. So we desperately seek ways of survival.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. There was so long where like you're almost in a phase of like just wanting to get back to who you were, as opposed to.
But you're never going to be, because you never are the same person again. After baby 2, you never go back. Now you're now you're mom of 2 kids. Now you're mom of 3 kids. You never go back.
Right. And I really had to sit with myself and come to a place where I'm like, I have to get to know who I am now.
How does that impact your leadership, the culture that you're building, the relationships with staff? Let's talk about that a little bit more.
I will say, obviously, I was back at, how many weeks was I? I think it was like 7 or 8 weeks I came back. And I mean, just the, I don't even know how to explain it. Just the camaraderie, like, everybody coming into my office, taking the baby, take 5 minutes yourself, let me feed the baby, let me burp the baby, like whatever it was. And it's like you're so sleepless and like delusional during that time frame, but just feeling like I had people around me that genuinely like loved me and cared about me. And they would tell me like, we're just so happy to have you here. It definitely brought me much closer to everybody in my staff. And,
You were afraid that a baby would take you away.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like run to the fear, because that's everything that you need in life.
Yeah. Yes.
Karen, talk a little bit about your season and how you've evolved over the last year and a half or so, and your relationship with the community, your families. Yeah.
Yeah. So interestingly, in last March, I had open heart surgery.
Thank you for bringing that up. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, I came in and Karen went out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we had postpartum lady walking into the building, and then we had heart surgery lady leaving the building. Yes.
And there was a lot of work done prior to this surgery.
Of course.
A lot of time spent talking to doctors and procedures and it was very unusual surgery. So I really did a lot of homework. I wound up going out to Minnesota to have this surgery. And so I was away for 8 days or so in the hospital and then back home. And I stayed out for a while, but I'm always on the phone. I'm always, how you doing? How's the day going? What's going on today? What can I do at home? I was lucky. I had an amazing recovery. So I wasn't down and out. But mentally, it definitely took its toll, because you're in, somebody was interested in handling your heart, and that's weird, right? So, and it took me a moment. So the other thing I think that's important to say is last June, so that was March, right? And then in June, I decided to give the keynote address at graduation and announce that I was stepping down and that I was handing over the directorship to Lisa, who had just had a baby in February, right? Mm-hmm. So this was a really interesting dynamic. I mean, she almost didn't have a choice, right? Like this, she's been kind of groomed for this. So it wasn't like I went in and said, hey, do you want the directorship? It's just like, I'm giving it up, and I'm giving it up in a very public way, because honestly, it was the only way I could do it. I couldn't do it quietly. I couldn't do it. I needed that definitive line between I'm the director and I'm no longer the director. And I felt Lisa needed it as well. And, we talk about seasons of life. It just was that time in my life where I wanted to be doing something different. I wanted to stay involved, but I wanted to stay involved in the sense that I wanted to do the thought leadership, the creating of programs, the behind the scenes kind of like enrollment, and knowing this critical situation with enrollment, staying in that lane. And so over time, I've defined kind of what I am wanting to do, willing to do, and can give to the school, and what I can't give to the school. So I'm not as present in the day-to-day operations, at least face to face. For the first time in my entire career with this school, I don't know some of the families. and I don't know the children, which is so strange. And it's taken me, like, I feel it emotionally, but it was just time, because I felt for Lisa to have this leadership role, I had to really step away. So they would respect that she is now leading. And it was a big transition, and obviously still something of a transition.
Of course, because it's a wave that moves and ebbs and flows, and we when the wave comes, we lean in and we're like, okay, what is this wave teaching me? What's like, and not get crushed under it, but ride it, right? Ride that wave as it goes. So I want to lean here a little bit more before we wrap up the conversation. You had in the beginning, you had brought up money leaks, and I just want to double tap on that. So money leaks is part of the financial gear, right? We have 5 gears to build and sustain a school of excellence. You have enrollment, staff culture, parent engagement, financial health, and strategic growth. And so financial health, under that, is understanding the 6 core money leaks that typically happen inside of schools, and where schools are hemorrhaging. And if they actually close the leak, they find more money. So I'm curious, what were the leaks inside of your school, if you'd like to share here, and what you did to close them?
So one of the very first things I did was, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, we're on a campus, we're Brookdale Community College campus, we pay rent, and the rent is considerably high. And I started to look and go, I don't think we're going to be able to pay the rent without giving up something like cutting staff or whatever we were going to have to do, right? So I went to them and I made a proposal, and I said, we can't pay rent for the next 6 months. I was very bold. And I said, but we can back it out on the back end of the lease, so we can increase the rent next year and the year after that. And we have a 10-year lease with them, so we could play with that. And I got them to agree to waive 2 months of rent, which was truly what we needed, and to then back it out all the way to the back end of the lease, so at the 10th year. And so that was a tremendous relief for us. It's a big rent we pay. So that was huge. That was money back in.
Yeah.
The thing that we did is we looked at time. We looked at, do we need all this staff for all this time? Are there leaks because we have too much coverage, or we have coverage in the wrong places, or could we shift somebody's skill set? Could we look again at their skill set? Maybe they could step into a portion of the admissions process or the enrollment process. They could, like, we have a preschool teacher who's very charismatic and she loves the school, and so we cut her time, but then we came back now when we have a little bit more money and said, we can give you those 4 hours a week back, but we want you to do it in enrollment. That's what, and she had been coming to us saying, I can help. And so it all kind of merged together. But we cut back on payroll. We cut back on, I
Spending.
took over the Amazon account
Yeah.
and would not allow one thing to be purchased without my approval. Not one thing. And it still goes on today. And I said, do you need that? Do you need 100 pencils, or can you buy 25? I said, you need pencils? Have you walked to the yard yet and picked up all the pencils the kids left in the yard? Like, it's crazy, and it sounds like minutia, but it saved us so much money. It has saved us so much money. It has also caused us to think about where we buy. And so we're buying locally. We have a local office supply place, and my office person said, you want me to go shop over there? I can just shop at Amazon. I said, no, I want you to go shop over there. I want you to go in, and I want you to show them what we're paying for the things we buy and ask them if they can match the price. And they said, yes, we'll match the price and we'll deliver for free to your door. You don't have to come and pick it up. So
There you go.
They seem like little things, but
They're not. You're building relationships with community. You're supporting local. We talk about these value constructs of supporting locally and investing in community and growing. And they're such beautiful theoretical concepts, but to live and practice them is a totally different experience. And so I love that you have paused and really leaned into what is important to us. And then in the beautiful impact of that, hey, we're saving money. We're becoming more profitable. We're closing, leaks. I know that when you started working.
I want to add to that.
Go ahead, please. Yeah, please do.
So the fact that we've been able to save this money and our enrollment has increased, we're now able to do some capital things, right? So we're able to put laminate floors down. We're able to put new fencing up. We're able to put either sod or turf, we don't know, but to
Yeah.
improve our yard. And when you do that, the parents see that you're investing back, and it increases enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
But don't go buy new fencing first. Like I always say is that like they're like, well, if I get new floors, I'm gonna get new kids. I'm like,
No,
new
it's not
floors does not equal new kids.
true. But this
Okay.
was the goal. We've been in the building, and these are
Exactly. This is like you're doing this later.
Range plan.
First you did the cold calling, then you did this, then okay, now we have the money, let's reinvest in the floors or whatever it is, right? What I always say, buying bagels, investing in floors, all these things are like survival tactics that take you away from what you actually have to do. So first go do the hard thing and then go buy the bagels or invest in the floors or whatever it is that you want.
But
So-
it feels good to be able to get to those goals that we've
Of
had
course.
sitting there that
Of
we've
course.
been able to dream of doing,
Yeah.
right? Now I'm still scratching numbers. I'm like, no, that's too much for that. I'm not paying that. And we're not hiring that person. Or I'm not, so we're still scratching. We have a very specific budget. This is how much we're going to spend for this. This is
Good,
we
good.
don't do it, right? So I
love
just, it feels good.
Yeah. And long range, we're now building a reserve. We are
Yes.
now looking at for next year, we are going to set a budget for each one of our classrooms and all of their spending.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that they're going to have what they need, but this is the budget that you're allocated for that amount. It's just not willy-nilly spending anymore.
We heard that on a group. I don't know, it was Rapid or it was the Wednesday program. We heard one of the members say, "Oh, I give them something like 3 cents a student per month," and we were like, "Whoa, wait a minute, we could do that. We could figure out what we should be giving them for their classroom and hold them to it."
Yeah.
So really pretty interesting.
So what Karen's referring to is the Rapid Results Roundtable, where members come on and share just systems or different things that are working inside of their school. And it just, again, the point of that is reflection and community. Do not do things in silo. You need to be around people in order to go do the hard things. So I love that. Thanks so much for bringing that up. So when you joined the membership, you guys had around 30 or 32 kids. How many children do you have now in the last year that you have?
Keep in mind, we have 54 students right now, and this is we have infants all the way through high school, right?
Yeah.
So 54 students right now. In the summertime, our K-12 is not there, and we have 54 students still for summer.
There you
So
go.
it's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
What is 20
Just so
kids?
you know, in percentages, that's a 68% growth.
Huge.
It's amazing.
And that is not a number that a single marketing agency could have ever promised you.
Right.
Or ever delivered on
Delivered, right?
Yeah.
Right.
for any money. Like even if you paid them 10 grand a month, they could not have delivered a 68% growth because there's so much work that you guys had to do to hit those numbers and get to where you needed to go. So I love this. So as we wrap up here, I just would love to ask each of you, what is your message to the person who's listening who keeps saying, it's not the right time, I don't need to invest, I can't afford, it's irresponsible to be part of a community, the economy looks like this, the government looks like this, like I have to wait. Like, what's your message to those people who know they need community? They know they need a container of leadership support.
A good question.
So I am a big proponent of community. Everything. I just had this lovely dinner last night with a friend of mine and talked about the loss of community. I talked about community to everyone who will listen.
Mm-hmm.
Joining this group has been so lifting and thought-provoking. And, I've had to come to it with humility, right? Not that I know, but I wonder and open my ears to all of the ideas that are shared and massage them to the point of how does this work for us? Because that's the other thing, right? Communities are different. We are a community together, but yet we go to these places where we have these other communities. And my community, my school community is different than somebody else's school community, but there are pieces and nuggets and ideas and value in what's being said. When you're having a tough time, oh boy, a community is the place to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're having a tough time, when we're at a plateau, and what do we do next? Should we do this or should we do that? We're coming to the community for that, to hear other people. I think also it's interesting because the other piece, and I don't know if it's really part of your design necessarily, but we're also going to our coach with things like, we've got biters and we've got unhappy parents. And what do we do? We've tried everything we can think of. And what do we do? And so even those operational things are so key to, and sometimes it's just because you need to hear yourself.
That is the container that we need to understand. And I'm so glad you brought this up, Karen. And then I want to hear from you, Lisa. In a world of AI, in a world of information, in a world where every single thing that you could possibly desire is at your fingertips, the human connection and the human container to process, to think, to have someone listen and hold space is the currency of today. It really, really is. And there is nothing that will ever replace this human connection, ever.
It's true. There's so much respect and regard in this membership.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Don't get on. You feel like there's something you can't say.
Yeah.
Open up about, or you can't advise about, right? Because there's so much respect within this community. I love that.
There's a reverence to all humanity that's in the group. Yeah. Lisa, go ahead.
I think about, directors all across, say nationwide, and we face so many of the same struggles. And I think that there is definitely a theme of, leadership is lonely. Leadership can be isolated. Leadership, it's like you're on your own island in some ways. And of course, Karen and I work very closely, but it's like, I'm not lonely. Like I have somebody to call in those difficult moments. And, I have to say, like, shout out to Mandy, to my success.
Mandy's one of our success coaches. Yeah.
I mean, she's just an incredible human being and comes from such like a genuine, authentic like place when it comes to like troubleshooting. And it's just like, I don't feel lonely. I have a community. I have a place to go and I have other people to brainstorm with. And I think that alone speaks to its value.
Yeah. We don't realize how powerful the container is until we leave the container sometimes. But I always say, like, the true wisdom of incredible leaders are the ones that don't have to leave to see the value. They understand while they're in the container that I need this. This is my anchor. This holds me. Like, I've been with my mentor, Todd, for 10 years. Same mentor, 10 years. Like, a decade is a long time to be in relationship with a mentor. And the reason I hold that container is very similar to you, Lisa and Karen, is that I need a container to reflect, to go back and forth, for someone to hold space for my thoughts, right? And I don't want to keep bouncing from person to person. I want that person to know me, to see me, to care about me, right? So I love all these things that you shared. It's incredible. And I just want to leave with just really a message to the two of you. You started in such a difficult place, so many steps behind. And you didn't just come forward through grit and hustle. You really pulled forward through changing your identity, to each of you on your own, to be committing to becoming a beautiful, more version of yourself, more aligned, more anchored, more deeply rooted in who you want to become. And that is so much harder than just hustling your way through something, because now you're creating sustainable change and growth. So just so much respect for the amount of work that it takes to hold a mirror up to all of our shortcomings and where we have room to grow. And I'm inspired and in awe of the work that you're doing. And thank you for trusting myself and our community for holding that for you guys.
Well, thank you for being that mirror for us too, because it goes right back to you.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies. This was lovely. Thank you for such a rich, beautiful conversation.
If your accountant has ever told you to cut back on professional development or slash your teacher appreciation budget or your staff development budget just so you could stay afloat, or has told you, hey, you probably can't go invest in that program, please listen. The problem is not that you're spending too much money on your people or yourself or your investment or your support system. It's that your school has invisible money leaks that are draining your profit, leaks that no spreadsheet will ever catch or accountant. So I created the 6 money leaks of schools that show you the 6 core areas that schools lose money every single month without realizing it. If you close even one of them, your profits will start to soar without sacrificing your team. Go get it now and stop blaming the things that are actually building your school.